This week on the Trent Out Loud Podcast. You cannot tell me that somebody is coming up to your door and because of their height, their size, their sex, that you feel like you have a right to shoot them in the head? Okay, finally we have, I think, all the details or most of the details in the Andrew Lester case. Let me go over some key points. So April 13th, 16-year-old Ralph Yarl went to the wrong house to pick up his sibling, and he went to Andrew Lester's house. Okay, so he apparently rang the doorbell. Andrew Lester sees this black kid on his porch and shoots Ralph Yarl in the head through the door. Ralph then falls on the floor. Andrew opens the door, goes out. After shooting him in the head, comes out and shoots him in the arm again. Okay, Ralph, the young kid, was able to get up from the porch, run to 3 different homes before he found somebody that would help him. They called police. He went to the hospital. So Ralph was shot in the head, shot in the arm, ran away to get help. Andrew Lester has been arrested, and he hasn't been arrested with a hate crime, and he hasn't been arrested for attempted murder, but he has been arrested for assault in the first degree and armed criminal action. Now, why he wasn't arrested for attempted murder and why he wasn't arrested for a hate crime is because apparently first degree assault has a more severe punishment than attempted murder. So the attorney general is obviously trying to give him the most time possible, or that's what they're telling us. So they're giving him the charge that has the more severe penalty. So a lot of people are like, how come he's not being charged for attempted murder? But the reason why is because assault in the first degree holds a more severe punishment. So let's focus on that. So at the time of the shooting, Andrew Lester was arrested, held for 2 hours, and then released. But now that the story has kind of gone national, there was protests. They arrested Andrew, and now he's released on $200,000 bond, meaning he only has to pay 10% of that in cash. So he was released with $20,000 cash down. And his only requirements for a bail are not having any contact with Ralph Yarl or his family or having any type of weapons. We'll get into that later about talking about how black people, when arrested, are given far worse bail terms than that for doing far less crimes. But I want to stick to the facts for a second. Okay, this is what's really important. This is what Andrew Lester, white man who shot this black child, this is what he said and the reason why he shot this child. Andrew said, Ralph showed up and rang his doorbell at 10 p.m. Andrew then said, I saw a black male pulling the handle of my exterior door, and I assumed that my house was getting broken into. 1 second. Now, Ralph's version of the story is he went up, rang the doorbell, waited to see if somebody was going to answer, and then Andrew came up to the door with a firearm and shot him. He immediately got shot in the head, fell to the ground, and then he was shot again in the arm. So the shooting and the shooting at the door, those both accounts add up. Now, the one thing that Ralph says that he heard is, after being shot, don't come around here again. And then here is the part to me why Lester is and should be found 100% guilty. Here's the bullshit. Andrew Lester says that he feared for his life because Ralph Yarl, a 16-year-old boy, scared him to death because of Ralph's size, a 16-year-old boy. That was his claim. He said when he looked out to see him, he saw Ralph hold the handle, and because of the size of Ralph, he was scared to death, and that's why he shot him. He thought he was breaking into his house. Now, Ralph's aunt says that there's no way that Andrew could have feared for his life from Ralph's size because Ralph is 170 pounds and he's not even 6 feet tall. But here's my whole point to all of this. I, just like many of you, have had people come up to my front door and ring my doorbell. All right. I have cameras on my property, 100%. But even if you don't have cameras and you look out the window, or if you do have cameras and you're pulling up your phone and you're looking and you're seeing somebody, regardless of the person's size or stature or age, 100%, for sure, you should be alarmed. Whether the kid is 16 years old, whether the kid is, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, anybody can come up and shoot you at any time. I don't blame somebody for fearing, but you cannot tell me that somebody is coming up to your door and because of their height, their size, their stature, their sex, and because their handle is on your door, that you feel like you have a right to shoot them in the head? You have a right to be afraid. That's no problem. But you cannot tell me that somebody that's coming up to your door at 10 o'clock at night, just the fact that they're at your front door, that gives you right to shoot them in their head? Like, that's crazy. If you tell me that, you saw him grabbing something, he had a bat, he had a mask, like, you got to give me something to let me know that this person is not here coming to your door to sell you something, to, provide a service, to maybe tell you that they saw something, to maybe come on, you have to wait for somebody to give you some, again, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should open the door for people. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be afraid. If there's a 12-year-old kid coming outside of my house, I'm thinking that he might be coming and there's somebody in the bushes and that's a smokescreen. I'm not saying that there should be a problem. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be afraid or you shouldn't feel like you want to protect, but you cannot tell me the minute that anybody at any stature of any size is on your property that you're going to shoot them in the head and come outside and shoot them in the arm. Like, come on, man. Like, this kid is a 16-year-old child. He's 170 pounds. He doesn't even stand 6 feet tall. You cannot tell me that an 84-year-old man is going to sit there and tell me that he feared so much for his life that the only signs that he saw that his life was being threatened was that this kid was 170 pounds and under 6 feet tall. Like, you cannot tell me that those are your signs of that your life is in danger. Like, you cannot convince me of that. And there's no way you're going to be able to convince a jury. Now, we all know that this is a case based on race, and you're going to be tried by the jury of your peers. It's probably going to be an all-white jury, and there's probably going to be a lot of racism played. But to me, in my opinion, this is an open and shut case. Somebody came on your property, rights to be alarmed. Okay, the kid is 16 years old, or he looks young. You could tell he's not a man. Okay, that's one version. Like, okay, he's a little bit under 6 feet tall. He weighs 170 pounds. Okay, you never know. There could be somebody that, yes, but he hasn't disguised himself. He's not hiding himself. He's not carrying a weapon in his hand. You know what I mean? Like, you have to wait for at least something to be threatening before you can try to tell me that you're justified to shoot a 16-year-old kid in the head. And then when you come outside, on top of that, and you see, there's no threat, there's no gun, there's no knife or whatever, then you're going to go back again and shoot the kid in the arm. This is crazy to me. This is an open and shut case. Andrew Lester should be found guilty, and whatever the crime is that has the most severe punishment, that is a crime. That is the crime that he should face, and those are the penalty. And I hope this man gets locked up for life in jail. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy, Trent Out Loud.